and we'll see. Maybe it'll get edited, maybe it'll just get posted. I don't know if I'll break it up or what. I'm gonna have to think about the best way, because part of the whole project is about, well, use of capitalism to spread information. Anyway, I'm going to try to avoid repetition and circularity, but some may be inevitable. The concepts I am going to talk about are big and new. Many people are likely to reject most, if not all of them. But if they resonate with you, find some way to let me know. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to collaborate. I'd love to do lots of things to try to advance the concepts that I will talk about. So I used to be a graduate teaching assistant, and part of this is teaching in a way. And so I thought, let's make some learning objectives, and that was very helpful actually in helping me get my thoughts organized and how to organize it. And so that I'm going to read my learning objectives, and it's going to provide some foresight into what other topics we're going to talk about. I'm not going to tell you the billion-dollar idea till we get there. It's coming. You'll see it in the learning objectives. Number one, we're going to talk about what is epistemology, because that is when I started using that term to think about autism, I turned a corner. Two is why and how did I develop a new epistemology. I don't know if that's the right term or right way to think about it. A lot of the concepts I've heard before and aren't groundbreaking. A lot are ancient, in fact, but perhaps the packaging is different. Don't know that I've heard some of this before. Third, we're going to talk about neurotypes, and we're going to talk about neurotypology as an epistemic issue, an issue of epistemology. It's going to make us talk about sort of the nature of reality. Fourth, we're going to talk about how trauma relates to epistemology, both on a personal level and as a collective level. How trauma responses shape our epistemic paradigm. We'll talk about fifth, how the epistemology that I use to understand, and I say understand, it's a personal understanding. I don't know, there's no science, I suppose, to back it up, although a lot of it is grounded in science. This video may be and likely will be interpreted as deeply anti-science. It is absolutely not. I believe firmly in the power of science as one of when used correctly, potentially the most powerful tool in an epistemic tool belt, but it is one of several. And I suppose this project is about ways to increase our ability to use them all. So it's not anti-science, but it is science in context as opposed to science in a silo to the exclusion of everything else. I don't think I even said what the fifth thing is. It's about healing personal and collective trauma as an epistemic imperative. Now that's the background you need to know to understand the billion-dollar product idea. had this epistemology, and I needed a package to share it with the world. And so I came across a concept. Well, and I also, my leave was ending, and I need a way to survive financially and emotionally. Emotionally, more importantly than financially, to be honest. But financial is real and impacts other people besides myself. So, we have a product, needed marketing, so this unmasking process that I went through somehow created a belief in myself and my ideas. And so I thought, why not try what seems like a good idea to me instead of what other people tell me might be a good idea? And so that's how I came up with this. Now is a good time to call it a performance art piece, a publicity stunt at the same time, a highbrow philosophical manifesto, a map for the future of humanity. It's all those at once. It is as lowbrow as any viral YouTube video, and as highbrow as any philosophical text that has been written before, in some ways. I mean, it's about the nature of reality and how we interact with it, and things like that. That's stuff, that's issues. So we'll talk about the product, and we're going to talk about how I come to the $1 billion valuation. Then we'll talk about Harmon-E-Poch and how the product supports Harmon-E-Poch, what Harmon-E-Poch is, how it's related to things like super wicked problems, which are problems that, they're time-bound, typically multinational, such that a single authoritarian figure doesn't have control over the solution, like climate change and identity. And, we're going to talk about Donald Trump and epistemology, of course. Maybe not of course, but I think he'll come up. And not just him. There are 5 to 10 other figures similar around the world currently that I think are similar. And we'll talk about ways of contributing to Harmon-E-Poch. And then I want to talk about magic and how to quantify magic. And my idea is gamification. So we'll talk about that. Like I said, that's the end of my organized notes. I have a glossary here defining some terms with some references, because there's a lot of concepts to understand and a lot of terms to know and a lot of background material for potentially some of you to look into, because you may not have seen all of this. Epistemology is a long word. It has ology in it, so it might be scary. It sounds like it could be science, it could be philosophy. It's kind of both, I suppose. It's largely thought of as, I think, philosophical. All it is how do we understand knowledge? How do we acquire the precursors to knowledge? How do we combine those precursors into knowledge? How do we take that knowledge and turn it into praxis? Which is where you take a theory, a practice, and implement it in real life. Get people to do things. Praxis